And I didn't know you could fit such a big human being under a Vespa. All right, guys, welcome to another amazing episode of MotoStories with Unkie Phil and guest. So today, I've got one of my favorite guests in the world. Introduce yourself, my friend.
My name is Stefan. I'm from PORCO Lounge and Tiki Room, and Phil is one of my best friends in the world.
And a proud patron of PORCO Lounge and Tiki Room, too. I do my best. I'm like their unofficial hype man. I make sure everybody that listens to the sound of my voice knows to come here. If you're in Cleveland, come to this fucking bar, because we have some stupid good times here. What I wanted to talk about was the way that when you became an adult and got this bar, how that changed. Because, you were just lowly. You were just the lowly, shutter empire, making steel shutters and roll up blinds and fancy stuff, zombie proof house accessories. But when you took my life dream of owning a bar and actually did something with it. And that took all the pressure off of the rest of us. And then what did we have? We had a built-in bar. Like, we instantly had a place.
Well, it's like you owning a scooter.
Exactly.
I didn't have to buy a bike.
No, never have to worry. Like, we literally supported each other's bad habits.
Right.
Cheers. So it's such a funny thing when that happens. And, your chocolate's in my peanut butter.
Can I tell this short story?
Please do.
To open this bar, I had to sell my ridiculous collection of scooters.
Yeah, you did.
Off to you.
Yep, I did. I bought them all.
To pay the water bill.
Yeah.
To open this bar.
Yeah, because there was a ton of backwater due money, right?
Correct.
It's one of those things. I don't care how you sell a building or go to jail or move out of town. Your water bill never goes away, and they will hunt you down for that.
And you saved me. And
Steph goes, I need to sell like 8 bikes or something. It was ridiculous. It was hilarious. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy all those. That's great. And then if you need to buy them back, you can.
And what happened with those?
They all got parsed out to our friends. They literally, I think Kurt's got a couple of them. They went everywhere. That CB350 I know went to Shane. He got that one.
Nice. Wow.
So yeah, they all stayed in the family. But it is a very funny thing when your hobbies turn into your businesses and your businesses support each other. It is like we grew up. It was like we were little children who had bad habits, and then those bad habits became a source of income. It's fun. But in the motorcycle community, we do events, and no matter what city you live in or what county you live in, there's always cool shit going on. And some people do like a teddy bear ride, and some people will do whatever. But in our area, historically, one of the most popular rides has been mods versus rockers. Correct. Or mods and rockers.
Yes. And
this kind of goes back to the 60s and the old, beach holiday or bank holiday weekends in England, where all the cats that rode scooters, it's a long weekend. We have Labor Day weekend here in the States. We have Memorial Day weekend here in the States. Well, in England, they get this weekend, and what passes for their summertime, they all jump on their bikes and fuck off to the beach, or what passes for a beach, right? And they go there. And the problem is all the scooter guys would go there. And of course, all their greasy hooligan buddies on their motorcycles would go there too. Now this is two storm fronts hitting each other. The mods with their beautiful, gorgeous attire, they're very fancy scooters, and they're very cutting edge, listening to modern music and being extra cool. Meanwhile, the rockers were just rehashing Elvis Presley stuff. The mods were trying to move the calendar forward.
Of course.
And
spend all their money on their suits and
and their drugs.
Everything to
and their drugs. Watch Quadrophenia. It really does a better job than I could.
Of course.
But the rockers were very much living the Brando style or living the Elvis style. And that's where this comes from. Back every year or every bank holiday, there would be riots on the beaches of mods versus rockers. And the mindset is hilarious because when you think about some guy in a beautiful suit riding a gorgeous Lambretta in the most expensive shoes you can imagine, getting in a brawl with a dude in black leather and chains and biker boots riding a BSA or a Norton, you're like, this is a very lopsided, these mods are gonna get their shit kicked out of them. But no, that's not exactly what happened. And it was a very strange thing where a lot of young kids got arrested, a lot of young adults got arrested, but it made awesome front page headlines, man. The newspapers loved it. And so mods versus rockers became a thing. Now, in America, for the past, 30 odd years, it's always been a great excuse to get your friends who have scooters and your friends that have motorcycles together in the spirit of mods versus rockers. Now, sometimes, you'll go to a lot of work that the guys who are going to ride their scooters will really dress up nice and they'll look the part. And the guys who are riding the motorcycles will really dress down, I guess, and they'll look the part. And the one year we did it, we actually started the groups on two different sides of town. We had the rockers start over on the west side of town and the mods started on the east side of town. And we actually all rode and got together at Edgewater Park, the beach, reminiscent of the beaches of Brighton. So this idea of sort of reincarnating or recreating the mods versus rockers bank holiday weekends. So Cleveland has always done a pretty good job with mods versus rockers. I feel like we've had a good representation. Sure. But your bar has always been so generous, even before you were open.
Well, let me throw you a curve here.
Yeah.
Talking about the Harley crowd
versus
the scooter crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is.
Can you speak to that?
It is really different. And it's very funny because
it's almost the same thing.
It is. I mean, we have events that we feel are particularly ours. We own them, and so do the Harley guys. There's a uniform, and so do the Harley guys. They're religious about their bikes. They know every little thing, FX, DB, whatever. Like, they know all the nomenclature. They know all the history. They know everything. So the groups, the tribes are more similar than they believe they are. It's crazy when you realize, like, these guys are members of their family, whether it's a Harley owners group thing or it's just the guys who hang out at Smedley's. But they all know the code. Like, they all know the code in their scene. And when we get them together for mods and rockers, the Cleveland scooter people are like really good at being scooter people.
Well, our bike nights that we used to go to. Yeah. How many bikes would they have down there? 5,000.
Yeah. That was like, they set a record.
When we rolled up in there.
Yeah. It was fantastic.
They'd be like, we'd park our little...
Right in the middle of the fracas.
Motor scooters.
Park 20 motor scooters, 20 vintage bikes right in the middle of this shitstorm.
And every one of these Harley guys would be...
Yeah.
Well, that would be really nice for my wife.
Mad respect. And we did. Nobody shat on us at all. People always be like, that's kind of cool. And, a lot of the stuff is two-stroke and it's go fast and make noise and do wheelies and have fun. But our mods versus rockers in Cleveland were always special because most of our guys that have vintage scooters also have motorcycles. So you never know what they're going to dress up for when it comes time. But we always know that consistently the mods are outnumbered. Like, it's always 400 bikers and like 9 guys on scooters or 9 guys and gals on scooters. So you always try to go with the mods side of it. Like, I rode my old Vespa GS all the way over here on the freeway the one time just to make sure we had one more Vespa, just to represent a little bit harder. But back to the event. So we usually get together and we'll get together and maybe have like a little get together with a snack and maybe even a cocktail or two if you're not feeling too froggy. And then we go off on a ride, and we like, in Cleveland, we like big fucking long rides. We like rides that you need to stop and have a gas stop for. Nobody's ever accused us of having short rides. And we'll go all over the place and we'll explore the area around Cleveland, and we might lose a handful of bikes, maybe 2 handfuls of bikes, maybe 3 handfuls of bikes. We've lost a lot of bikes on our rides. They tend to be too far, but we like it that way. And then we come back here and we drink. And we reminisce, we catch up. And the funny thing is, that parking lot out there goes from being 200 motorcycles and 20 scooters to being 50 motorcycles and 20 scooters. And then 15 motorcycles and 20 scooters. And one of my favorite things is, I can't remember what drink special we were running, but you guys had a whole separate bar set up on the upper pasture area back here. So in the upper garden, you had a whole separate bar of I think it was just painkillers. It might have just been painkillers.
Could be.
It was crazy.
Yeah, it was just like in and out.
Yeah, regular cocktail service in here, craft cocktails and all the deliciousness you guys always do. But then outside was like the Savages bar. It was just like, just throw a painkiller at these guys and they'll be fine. Well, there was a body count. I'm always going to be here till the very end. I'm always going to make sure we close down and everything goes to bed nicely. But we had a couple of people, and one in particular. and I didn't know you could fit such a big human being under a Vespa. Like, the dude, I don't know how it was, but he looked like he was tucked in, like somebody had found him sleeping and just put a Vespa on him. And to paint you a picture.
It could have been me.
Well, that we both have been there several times where we just decided this was where I'm sleeping
So I'm
tonight.
not casting the first stone.
But you have to visualize this is a veteran biker, but he's got the swastika tattoo and all the tattoos of the 60s and 70s, but he's got a big beard. He looks kind of like Santa Claus. And so some of the people around here have actually started calling him Nazi Santa Claus. Because you can cover that tattoo. I did check. They'll cover those up for you. Some shops I know will even do it for free. But that dude looked like somebody called in an airstrike on his ass.
Nice.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. And when we found him, I think we had kind of thought that the party was over. But there was just that couple of bikes up there in the parking lot, and one of them happened to be his bike. And I was like, oh man, I wonder where he is. And I walked up the hill, top parking lot, and I looked down, and there's this giant human being literally under his bike, like exhaust was right on his chest. It was wild. So I think that's one of those ones where you've had a good party when there's stragglers and survivors, and then there's that guy. Mm-hmm. That's how you've been having a really good time. And he did it. And that's, that to me, that's Mods versus Rockers. Mods versus Rockers is, yeah, the ideas we're throwing it back to the old fighting days and stuff, but now it's camaraderie. Now it's about appreciating each other's ride.
Of course.
Because we do that. Like, I love looking at old vintage motorcycles, and I love looking at old vintage scooters. I just think it's great. And the fact that we have them both in this town, super cool, man. So if you like the stories, I know Stef likes the stories, you come and subscribe to the channel. So it's, and you can send us messages. It's MotoStories with Unkie Phil at gmail.com. And we'll read all the comments. In fact, some of the stories we're going to talk about as we go along here. And Steve's doing a great job. Fernando's keeping these tight, and we're getting them published. So subscribe and leave us comments, because we love reading them. The one that dropped today is got 12 comments already like that. So very cool that you guys are participating. As we always say, ride fast and take chances, and we'll catch you next week on MotoStories with Unkie Phil. Thanks, Stef.
Cheers, brother.
Well done.